Odin purposely sent Baldur to get killed by Kratos. First, we have to analyze what little we know about Odin to further understand his decisions, specifically with the prophecy that grows near. The Allfather is so obsessed with Ragnarok, so much so he wants any and all knowledge about it to himself. Odin is a very intelligent man, always being one step ahead, like when he knew the tattooed man traveling with a child were going to Jotunheim even before Kratos and Atreus knew for themselves. Also, he captured the wolves Skoll and Hati and released them when he wanted Ragnarok to start. The Allfather is old and keeps to himself, often staying in Asgard, and although Mimir was his right-hand man, even he rarely spends time with Odin, only concerning himself with what he deems important. He's even cut out realm travel entirely and left the realms to fight off for themselves to ensure that there is less to guard when the final battle arrives. He is concerned with Ragnarok's outcome so much, or rather his life so much, that he's willing to sacrifice one of his sons, one of his children, if it means he will live another day and continue to rule and have influence over all the realms. Odin has been collecting so much knowledge, sacrificing an eye to see everything that happens in the world, hanging himself from Yggdrasil for 7 days to plunge it for its secrets, and keeping to himself that he's conjured knowledge and knows who Kratos is, and that by sending Baldur, Odin was set to win either way, because Baldur was convinced he was hunting a giant, and if he killed Kratos, Odin would no longer have to worry about him. Alas, the god of war used a portion of his strength to kill Baldur. However, Odin knew what the outcome was going to be, and was more than prepared, knowing that sending Baldur outside of Asgard would inevitably lead to his death, as now that he has been killed, the final motion to start Ragnarok, Fimbulwinter, is happening at his time of want. After his son's death, he knew he would be able to take advantage of the situation of Freya's bloodlust for Kratos. Sending another son, Hermod, the messenger of the Aesir, he informed Freya that Odin was extremely angered by his death, that he would be willing to lift her curse if it meant she would kill the man who murdered her son. Like Kratos being blinded by rage and vengeance, she agreed without a shred of doubt in her mind. In Freya's head, she thought she'd first kill Kratos and then her ex-husband, who has so ruthlessly ruined her life. Upon Hermod returning to Asgard and telling the news to Odin, the Allfather smiled, knowing she could not resist such an offer. Freya is now to become a pawn to Odin, as if she does anything wrong, he will remove her spirit once again. The Allfather will more so use Freya as a distraction to Kratos and Atreus, so that Asgard has more time to prepare for Ragnarok. After all, the ghost of Sparta killed an entire pantheon. What is one god blinded by emotion hoping to do against this killer of kin? Against a god of war who has grown more calm and reasonable. Using her Vanir magic, she would travel to Vanaheim with the 9 Valkyries by her side, as they are forever loyal to her, but were also forced by the Allfather. Quickly, the gods of Vanaheim sensed her presence and traveled to her. They were ready to kill her. After all, they blame her for everything that had happened after her divorce with Odin. Freya will tell them of her son's murderer. She will tell them that they'll fight alongside Asgard in Ragnarok. Of course, however, her fellow Vanir will resist as they exile her. All the while, Hugin and Munin listen in. Odin then sends numerous Aesir to Freya's side as a display of threat, one of those being the menacing Thor, forcefully convincing them to fight alongside the Aesir, further adding to Odin's army and the likelihood of him surviving. As a final say, she says she will kill anyone who chooses to refuse at any point in time. Thor also says that the Allfather himself will torture them as he did Mimir. Reluctantly, they agree and then become another pawn in the Allfather's plan. And that was one of Odin's grand schemes. All of these things to influence the outcome of Ragnarok, to make it so that he will live, capture and imprison Fenrir, Fenrir being the wolf that engulfs the Allfather, ending his life, releasing Skoll and Hati to devour the sun and moon when he wants, to have Baldur killed so that Fimbulwinter starts at his time of want, and to ultimately use Freya to forcefully unite her people to fight alongside the Aesir when Ragnarok arrives, to stop the Valkyries from doing their job so that Baldur, Magni, and Modi don't come back to life after Ragnarok. And once the final battle is finally fought and all the other gods are too weak to fight, he would kill all of them, and he will be the sole ruler, the sole god, the All-Father of all the 9 realms. Appreciate you watching. My next 3 video will be on how Kratos and Atreus will separate. If you have any other ideas, videos, topics you want me to cover, let me know. And if you haven't, check out my Kratos vs. Thor animations and my God of War Fallen Gods cinematic walkthrough. And as always, peace out. Enjoy the rest of your day, my brother.
When you are at your weakest,
when fear and doubt are a burden too heavy to bear,
remember this: you are not alone.